Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a good day. Today I'm going to talk about some games that I've been playing recently. Now we've just had Christmas, and if you're anything like me then you've probably got loads of games to play over Christmas. You're working your way through them, bouncing back and forth between them. At least that's how it is for me. So I thought it would be fun to talk about some that I'm playing at the moment, games that I'm having fun with. This also serves as sort of like a bit of a practice for me, because while I've been playing some of these games I've sort of thought, should I review them for the channel? But I'm not sure if I really feel like I know how to do a proper review yet, so I just thought I would talk about these games and maybe it's a stepping point towards doing reviews. So maybe I'll do some reviews later, but for now I just thought I would chat to you a little bit about what kind of games I'm playing at the moment. So the first game is Pokemon Violet, and I previously talked about Pokemon Legends Arceus. It was one of my favourite games of last year, and I talked about how I wanted to pick up Scarlet or Violet, but I was a little bit worried about performance and things like that, and I wasn't too sure exactly when I was going to dive in. Well, I actually got it for Christmas. It was a Christmas gift for me, so I've been playing it on the Switch. I've been running around getting the feel of the game a little bit and sort of testing the waters, I suppose. So right away, I do think the world feels quite alive. It's more so than Arceus did. I really liked Arceus, but especially when you walked around the zones, because there was no civilizations or anything like that, the world did sometimes feel a little bit lonely, I suppose. And I don't really find that with Violet. I'm finding that seeing the towns and things like that, in the distance you can see them off of hills and mountains and things. When you're high up you can see them in the distance. But seeing those towns and Pokemon centers and things like that break up the natural terrain, I think it does make the world feel more alive, and I'm quite enjoying that aspect of it. It's very fun to throw your Pokemon out and see them walk with you for a little while, rather than only seeing the Pokemon in battle. I much prefer that, and throwing them all out on a picnic is pretty cool as well. You can sort of have your entire team surrounding you, and that just, that helps the Pokemon fantasy, really, doesn't it? Mostly, I actually like the new designs of the Pokemon. I'm enjoying those quite a lot. I'm kind of doing this thing that I don't normally do, where in new Pokemon games, I tend to pick some of my old favorites from previous generations, usually Generation 1 and 2, if I'm honest. Sometimes 3 as well, but in this case what I'm doing is I'm actually trying to not use those on purpose. So I did get the flying Pikachu from the mystery gift, but I've not put it in my party. I'm trying to only use new Pokemon at the moment, and I want to see their evolutions as well, because I'm quite interested in how they look. You didn't really get that in Arceus, obviously, because there weren't really new Pokemon for that, but it's a bit of a change for me for Violet, so that's a positive in my opinion. And it's actually a little bit harder than I expected. Now, I'm not going to say it's a hard game, because it's still a Pokemon game. You can still overlevel for sure, and you can blast through it really easily. But what I found is that because of the open world structure of the game, I'm never really sure exactly what level I should be before challenging something. So if you give the first Team Star base as an example, this is the fire base, I think. I'd done a gym or two before that, and I'd gained a Herba, Mystica, or maybe 2, I'm not quite sure, can't quite remember. And my Pokemon was sort of level 20 to 22, something like that. And so I thought, I'll take on the first Team Star base. It won't be too much of a problem. But actually, it was really difficult. I think it was a level 27 was the final leader's Pokemon. And that was, I didn't win. I actually lost twice, which is really unusual for me in a Pokemon game. It's normally, maybe I'll lose once and then I will level up and I'll blast through it, but that Torkoal was really tough to get through. I did pick the fire starter, so that probably didn't help. I imagine people who picked the water starter would have had an easier time. I'm not sure if it's like intentionally difficult or if it's just the game design where you're not sure what level you're supposed to be. I also didn't really use the auto battle feature until after I'd had this struggle, because I kept forgetting it was there. So I'm not sure if maybe the levels were put in place with the fact that people would use the auto battler in mind, which I hadn't done at that point. But yeah, it was just sort of like an unexpected challenge. Not a bad thing, because you don't like it when games are too easy, but just something that I wasn't expecting. It was a surprise for me. I haven't really had any crashes or bugs so far, but I will admit that the performance on the system is not great. You can tell the Switch is struggling. There's a big debate on whether it's, the optimization of the game or the Switch's hardware. I'm personally leaning towards the optimization of the game because of games like Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That game it runs way better than Pokemon does, and it's on the same hardware, so I'm leaning towards optimization. You can really tell that like there are windmills and stuff in the distance where you can see the turbines. They'll turn, the closer you get, the faster they'll turn, and the further away you get, the frame rate of that animation just drops completely, and then you get far away enough and the turbines just stop moving altogether. I mean, that can't be what they wanted to happen in a Pokemon game, but luckily no crashes or bugs yet. Fingers crossed that they keep going that way. But yeah, I can definitely see some performance issues that I don't think are very acceptable, to be honest. I like being positive in game reviews, but I don't really think the performance is acceptable for a AAA Pokemon game, a mainline Pokemon game. It's got to be better, hasn't it? The only other negative I have, I don't know if it's really negative, but normally I really like the music in Pokemon games. I tend to have, there's at least like some tunes that I really enjoy. So like I enjoyed the gym leader battles in Sword and Shield. I think it's the Professor's tune in Arceus. That's really like bouncy. So I enjoy that. I have not really found that I like any of the music in Violet, to be honest, at all. The only one that I do like is the Terra raid battle. I like that a bit more. It's not like amazing. I like it more than all the others though. But yes, a bit of a surprise to me because I'm kind of like a video game music guy. I like it a lot usually. So a bit disappointing to not have any that I really like in this game so far. I'm not very far through, so that could change. All in all, though, I am having a good time with it. I definitely am. When you first start the game up and there's a cutscene of your chosen legendary from your edition, and it flies around the region, and you can see all of the different cities and things like that. You see Pokemon below, like that. That really is the promise of the game, and so far it's mostly paying off. I am enjoying roaming around, seeing Pokemon, and one of the moments that really solidified it for me was when I went to a stream. I was walking past a stream, and I just saw loads of water Pokemon just hanging out in the stream. I couldn't go in the water at that time, but I could see the Pokemon down there, and I was like, yeah, this is an open world Pokemon game. This is what I want. I just kind of want it to be a little bit better, run a bit better, if that makes sense. But I am having a good time, and I will continue to play it. Okay, so the next game is not on the Switch. That was my only Switch game that I'm playing at the moment. The next game is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Reunion, I think it's called. It's a long title. It's the prequel, the remake of Crisis Core, the prequel to Final Fantasy VII. So I actually played this game already. I played the original on PSP. I really had a good time. It was one of my favourite PSP games alongside, Freedom Unite, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. I think Crisis Core is probably my favourite. So I was really excited to dive back in with, updated graphics, probably a bit of a slightly changed combat system. I was really looking forward to it. And it's great. What can I say? It's great. It's really hitting that spot for me. I'm waiting for Final Fantasy 16, and so Crisis Core is tiding me over nicely. It looks great on Steam Deck. I think they've done a really good job remastering the in-game graphics. I think it looks really good. I'm sure it would look really good on a big screen as well, but I bought it on PC to play it on Steam Deck, and it looks really great on that 800p screen. I wish they had redone everything though. So they've not redone certain cutscenes. I think it's all the cutscenes actually. They've not redone those, and they've just put the original ones in there instead, which is a bit of a shame. Like I can understand why they've done it because, well, I guess it's expensive to redo all of those cutscenes. But I mean, come on, Square, it's Final Fantasy. You have the money to redo those cutscenes. So that is a bit of a shame because I'd really like to see the Angeal Sephiroth Genesis fight in the simulator redone with like modern day cutscenes. I'm sure would have been incredible. And I think you can tell that it would have been really good because they've redone the summon cutscenes. So it just would have been nice to have everything redone because those summon cutscenes are so good. The Bahamut one where he uses his like mega attack, I can't remember what it's called right now, it's Meteor something, I think. That just looks amazing. It looks really, really good. It's gorgeous, to be honest. I don't skip it because I think it looks really, really cool. So it's a bit of a shame that they didn't do that for all the others because I think they could have made it look incredible. But on the other hand, because I am playing it on Steam Deck, it still doesn't look too bad. I think blown up on a big screen, like if somebody was playing it on PS5 on a 4K TV, I imagine they would look bad, to be honest. I think they would look really pixely. But on my little Steam Deck 800p screen, they look okay, they don't look the best, but they don't look too outdated. So just maybe next time do all the graphics Square. A bit cheeky of me, but is it asking too much? I am having a really, really good time with it though. I don't really have any downsides. The dialogue is way cheesier than I remember, but I was a teenager, I think, when I played it the first time. Some of the dialogue is awful, really, isn't it? Genesis just quotes from The Loveless Play. I mean, what is that? Who talks like that? That is so Final Fantasy, I suppose. It's kind of cringy at points, but the nostalgia is there for me, and the gameplay is still really good. The gameplay is fun. They've sort of redone it a little bit to make it a bit more in line with the Final Fantasy 7 remake, and I think it works. At the moment, I've not gotten too far in the story because I just keep playing the missions. I kind of don't remember doing too many of the missions when I played it through when I was younger. I think I rushed through story and I didn't do too many of the missions, so I'm kind of like having a good time exploring all the missions and unlocking them all. And also now I'm older, I think I'm appreciating more of the gameplay mechanics, so I don't really remember ever bothering with materia fusion, which I'm sure must have handicapped me because I finished that game before at least once, so not doing materia fusion must have made the game much harder. But yeah, I'm now that I'm older, I'm appreciating that mechanic. I'm having a proper go with it, getting stuck in, doing it properly rather than just properly matching the attack button. I don't know what I did to beat it, but I can't have been playing it properly. It's good on Steam Deck as well. It looks really nice, runs really nicely. I play high settings, 40 FPS, and I get like a good few hours battery, 3 or 4 hours, something like that. So it works on there. I'd recommend playing it on there if you're getting it on Steam and you have a Steam Deck, because it's good fun to play on there. All in all, yeah, good, having a good time with it. Really glad I picked it up. Right, the next game is another Christmas gift, and this is one that I'm playing multiplayer with my partner, and it's Orcs Must Die 3. So usually when we play a game together, it's something like Animal Crossing or Disney Dreamlight Valley, because my partner's not a huge gamer. She likes The Sims, things like that, but she doesn't really stray much into other genres. Orcs Must Die 3 was kind of one of the first games that we agreed on that wasn't like a cozy game, I suppose, if that makes sense, a cozy game. I tend to love the tower defense type games anyway, so it's just a big win for me. So we played through 1 and 2 probably years ago now, and we never got round to 3. I'm not really sure why, but we've now got 3 and we are having a good time with it. So this is another one that I'm playing on Steam Deck while my partner plays on her laptop, and it runs pretty well on Steam Deck. I can usually get about 40 FPS. It does drop to 30 sort of when there's a big horde of orcs coming at you. I think we're about 2/3 of the way through campaign 1. There's multiple campaigns for it, and I guess the waves are going to get bigger as we get towards the end. So I'm not really sure how it's going to run then, but as long as it doesn't drop too far down, I think I'll be fine. I don't think it's the type of game where a jittery frame rate is going to really throw you off. It's not like, a first-person shooter or anything like that. I think it'll be okay. So I'm going to stick with trying it on the Steam Deck. Mostly so far it's running fine. If you want, I can update you once we get further in the game. And we're both having a good time, to the point where we're considering snapping up some of the DLC campaigns. It's just kind of fun to talk to each other, plan out our layouts of our traps in advance before the orcs are coming through, talk to each other about what we think would be best. We've each sort of gone down different routes of which traps we lean towards. I really like the ice walls. And my partner has the wall trap where it's sort of like it sits on the wall here and then it just goes and it just launches the orcs flying, and that's really satisfying to watch as well. She really likes that. We're just having a good time with it, to be honest. It's fun to see whether or not our plans succeed or not. So yeah, a good co-op game. I would recommend it. If you like tower defense at all, then it's a fun time. Okay, this is one that a lot of people probably would be surprised wasn't on my top games of 2022, but the reason is because I didn't really play it, and I'm finally giving Elden Ring a proper go. So I did play it before, but I just fell off it. I usually fall off from soft games, Dark Souls games. I usually struggle. The closest game to a Souls-like game that I actually completed was Jedi Fallen Order. All of the mainline Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Sekiro as well. Like I played those. I remember enjoying them mostly, but something always pulled me away or something always frustrated me. I think in Dark Souls 1 I got to a point where there's like some invisible enemies or something that would constantly backstab you, and I was just like, I'm not dealing with this. No way. I don't want to stress about a game. So I left it, and something always comes up. But I'm having another proper go with Elden Ring. I'm actually playing it on Steam Deck. I can't believe it runs on Steam Deck. Even if it's only 30 FPS, it's crazy. This is like the biggest game of last year. It's a massive world. It runs on Steam Deck fine. You don't get loads of battery, but 30 FPS, it runs fine. And this time playing through, I started again. I'm going to go with some kind of like a paladin faith build, that type thing. And I actually discovered a whole new area that you get to from the starting area. You can go underground, and there's like a river underground there. I've been underground when I played before, but not in the starting area. So this is like a whole new zone for me, which I think just sums up Elden Ring, really, doesn't it? You don't know how much there is that you don't know about in Elden Ring. I think that's kind of like the whole deal with the game. That was exciting, to be honest. Yeah, so I've not played too much of that, just a few hours, because I've been playing all this other stuff. That's another one I've been playing recently, and I'm going to try and stick with it. We'll see. Okay, on to something a little bit different. It's an RPG, and it's sort of old school with modern twist. It's Chained Echoes. So when I was talking about games I want to play this year, 2023, I was talking about Sea of Stars, and I mentioned that because I wanted to try and get into the old school RPGs, but I kind of thought I might need ones with a modern edge to them, so that I stuck with them. At the time, I hadn't really heard of Chained Echoes when I made that video, but since then, since recording that, and I've seen Chained Echoes, and I picked it up over Christmas because I'm hoping the same thing. You know, it seems like one of those modern, old school, if that makes sense, RPGs, and a lot of people like it, so I thought I would give it a go. It's one, again, I'm not too far into, but I am enjoying it so far. I am getting into it, I think. The introduction to the game was really quite, intriguing. It kind of hooked me in. Yeah, I just sort of enjoyed that intro. It got me excited. Been playing it since then, a few hours here and there. I am getting a little bit bored of the combat, which is usually what happens with old school RPGs for me. The turn-based combat, it's getting a little stale. I have just unlocked a new mechanic, which I'm hoping will freshen things up for me, and I am quite interested in the story. There's like a mystery going on. I do want to know, so I'm hoping that the story can kind of pull me through, and I'll get more into it. Only time will tell, I guess. But Chained Echoes is another one that I've been playing just a little bit on the side recently. Okay, so the next one is one of the biggest games of last year, and it's God of War Ragnarok. I'm still playing it. I'm still working my way through it. It's a very big game, and all the side quests are really interesting, so it's taken me a while to get through it. And also over Christmas, I didn't really get much chance to play. Seeing family, partner being home, wanting the TV a lot, that kind of thing. But I've been playing it here and there again. It's so good, isn't it? It's so good. I don't want to show any gameplay because I'm probably like halfway through now, so I'm not going to show any footage of me actually playing it because it would all be kind of spoilery. So this is all trailer footage, but it's just really good. I'm really enjoying the combat. They've added like a new weapon, new mechanics, things like that, which I really enjoy. The story's really good. I'm really, really intrigued by the story. And like I said, every side mission so far has been interesting. It's not just generic, go here, kill this, fetch this back. There's a good story behind it. There's something interesting that you want to know about. Maybe it's about one of the characters. Maybe you're going to do a rescue or something like that. One towards the start, you sort of like Atreus hears this creature in the distance, and you have to go and investigate what it's about. And when you get there, it's an awe-inspiring creature. They're just good side quests. Like they're really good. There's not many games that the side quests I want to do every single one of them like I do this. As I say, I've not been playing it too much recently because of Christmas, and also I'm really into the Steam Deck at the moment. It's obviously not on there, so I've been picking up the Steam Deck more than I've been picking up the PS5 controller. But every time I go back and I do like an hour of God of War Ragnarok, I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. I remember why I've played this so much now. So yeah, I will definitely be getting through it. It's just slow going. Okay, last one. And I've talked about this game already. I know I've talked about it a lot, guys, but I'm still playing it. It's Vampire Survivors. I'm still playing Vampire Survivors. I'm still hooked on it. I've got like over 100 achievements on Steam in Vampire Survivors now. I'm just working my way through the unlock list, trying to get every single one. I'm just hooked. I'm really, really hooked, actually. Every day I'll pick up the Steam Deck and I'll do at least one run. You get to a point where you win every run, so each one is like half an hour long. So I sometimes I'll do one or two, but most of the time just one. But I pick up pretty much every day. I'm picking up. I'm doing at least one run. And when I play, I look down the list of unlocks, I pick one that I want to work towards, and I'll go for it, and I'll try and unlock it. And that makes it really interesting for me. There's always something to work towards. And also, since I last talked about it, I just found loads of secrets. Like, there's loads of stuff that you don't realize is there. For example, when you do the power-up menu, and it starts with, a good number of unlocks, and then all of a sudden, like, you'll do something and a new power-up will appear at the bottom. You do something else and a new one that you didn't know was there before will appear as well. Like, one of the maps has a secret, you just keep going in one direction and something happens, like that kind of stuff. There's absolutely no hint to that in the game at all. I just happened to stumble across it on Reddit and I went for it, and there it was. That was really cool. So many hidden characters and things like that. So many weapons that you don't realize are there. And now I've got the DLC as well. It's just added even more to do. I'm still playing Vampire Survivors, guys. I'm sorry, I know I talk about it a lot, but it's really got me. It's really like grabbed me. There's something about that game that I'm still playing it. I'm determined. I want all of those achievements. I want 100% achievement, to be honest, and I never do that on Steam, but I really would like to with Vampire Survivors. All right, guys. So that was that was what I'm playing at the moment. I hope you enjoyed this. It was sort of more of a unstructured video. Normally I kind of script out bullet points of what I'm going to say. But in this case, I just sort of rambled on a bit about the games that I'm currently playing. I hope that was alright. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a bit more informal, a bit more chatty, I suppose. But what are some games that you're playing right now? Did you pick up some over Christmas that you're having a good time with? It can be, you know, any platform. I mostly talked about Steam Deck, but, you know, there was one Switch and one PS5 game in the mix as well. So, you know, what are you guys playing at the moment? If you enjoyed this video and you want to hear me talk about some other games I've played, then you might like my best games of 2022. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.